After getting back together with Evan Thompson, I had the abandoned cat effect. I began to fear that he would abandon me, so I became obedient and cautious. I don't dare to stick to him anymore and make more excessive demands. But Evan panicked. He pushed me down on the bed and asked me questions over and over again with red eyes. Shantelle, why are you different now? 1. This is not the first time I have come to Evan's company to see him, but it was the first time after getting back together. The girl at the front desk was replaced. She saw that I couldn't hide the joy in my eyes. Ah, are you Shantelle? You haven't acted for a long time. I really like you very much. Her face turned red and she pointed in the direction of the private elevator. Mr. Thompson said that you can just go up directly. I nodded and walked towards the elevator holding the thermos. The little girl suddenly called me, Miss Shantelle. She nervously handed me a piece of chocolate. Your performance in Seeing Spring was so touching. It's a pity that you didn't win the Golden Orchid Award. But you will always be the best heroine in my heart. After entering the elevator, I stared at the chocolate in a daze. My heart began to ache. In fact, I was the winner of the Golden Orchid Award for Best Actress. The organizing committee has posted the message. It's just that at that time, Evan spoiled me so much that I didn't know how high the sky was and how deep the earth was. Although I am used to acting in art films, I secretly took on the role of a villain in a suspense film. I wanted to change and try a different style, but he turned it down. I had a big fight with Evan. Why didn't you let me go? You turned it down without saying a word. Do you respect me? No reason. I just think you are not suitable for that movie. It's just that Evan himself is not satisfied. You are only suitable for gentleness and sweetness. He always knows me better than I know myself. I don't know when it started. I seem to have become the cat he carefully raised for the competition. I started a Cold War with Evan, but continued to contact the film's director, hoping to have another chance to audition. The consequences of the Cold War are beyond my ability to estimate. At that time, the highly prestigious Golden Orchid Award was being selected. My work Seeing Spring was shortlisted and received high praise from the organizing committee, and I received a post from them. I was the Best Actress winner of the Jean Lawn Award. But because of the Cold War between Evan and me, as the president of Thompson Group, he is the leading investor in the Golden Orchid Awards and major projects in the entertainment industry. He easily gave the award to other nominated actresses. What are you relying on to give me the cold shoulder? Those were the last words Evan said to me. It was like a sudden bayonet, stabbing cruelly into my chest. I have been separated from him since then. For a long time, people in the industry also heard rumors about me, and I couldn't get any roles. He was even hospitalized due to mental and physical problems, until my agent asked me to attend a dinner at the end of the year. I met Evan again. We got back together. 2. The top floor only has Evan's office. I knocked on the door and heard his voice from inside. Come in. When Evan saw it was me, he was stunned for a moment. Then he immediately stood up and strode towards me. As he got closer to me, his steps slowed down again. He reached out to help me get the thermos, but I dodged it without leaving a trace. Fortunately, Evan didn't care. Why did you knock on the door today? In the past, I would just push the door open and walk in. I smiled at him awkwardly and handed him the thermos with both hands. You haven't eaten yet? I made some soup. Evan hesitated and looked at me inquiringly. When did Shantelle learn to make soup? If it was before we broke up, I would always act like a spoiled child to him and ask him to find all kinds of ways to praise the soup I made. But now I can only pour the soup into a small bowl and rub the corners of my clothes nervously, waiting for Evan's comments. I stared at the fish soup that had been boiled into a milky white color, thinking over and over again in my mind, what if it doesn't taste good? What if he doesn't like it? Evan seemed to notice that something was wrong with me. He pulled me into his arms. Are you feeling unwell today? Your hands are cold, your face doesn't look good, and you haven't been talking much. It turns out that they started chattering as soon as they walked in, commenting on everything in my office, from the green plants on the desk to the carpet. When I heard Evan's words, I stiffened sensitively and whispered, I was too willful at first. I will change in the future. His eyes darkened and he held my arm tighter. Then I saw Evan pick up the bowl and start eating the soup. I didn't dare to speak until he took a sip and put it down. Is it unpalatable? I'm sorry, I will try to improve it in the future. Do not change. What? Before I could react, Evan picked me up by the waist and walked me towards his restroom in the office. 3. He threw me onto the bed. The curtains were drawn in the room, so it was dark and we couldn't see each other clearly. Evan kissed her forcefully. I responded to him somewhat at a loss. Even though it hurt a lot, I didn't make any sound of discomfort. I felt extremely tired and a layer of cold sweat broke out on my back. I don't know how long it was before I curled up weakly in the quilt, clinging tightly to Evan. He sat up. I immediately raised my head and looked at him. Evan patted my head and said, "Go get some more sleep. I have a meeting." I didn't move, just blinked a few times and looked at him. Seeing me like this, Evan came over and kissed me. "Would you like me to accompany you?" My hands unconsciously tightened the corner of the quilt. "It's okay, just go and get busy." After saying that, I saw him put on his clothes and walk out of the room. The moment the door closed, the light in the room completely disappeared. I lay on the bed, staring blankly at the dim ceiling. Second after second, it took me a long time to fall asleep. 4. This sleep lasted about 2 or 3 hours, and then I was awakened by a start. Actually, since I broke up with Evan, I often have heart pain in my sleep and wake up with a start. This situation did not improve after reconciliation. Even worse, it sounded so quiet outside as if there was no one around, so I put on my clothes and walked outside, planning to leave. Woke up. I didn't realize Evan was still in the office. He seemed to have finished the meeting and rubbed his brows wearily. I nodded and fixed my hair. "I'm leaving." "Go? Where to?" Evan took off his gold-rimmed glasses, which left a faint indentation on his face. He hooked his finger at me and I walked over. Evan took a piece of cake from the small refrigerator under the table. "Are you in such a hurry to leave? Don't you want to eat some cake?" I stared at the strawberry cake for a few seconds, then took it and returned to the table to eat it. The fish soup that I made for Evan a few hours ago was still on the table, but he didn't drink it and it had gone cold. It smells lightly fishy. I ate the cake bite by bite. Evan came over and sat next to me. "I remember you liked this cake the most, and my assistant happened to be nearby, so I brought it to you. There's some in the refrigerator. I'll have them pack it up for you to take away after dinner." "Eat? Where should we eat?" Evan laughed and pinched my nose. "Director McBride is currently casting for his new play. I'd like to take you to meet him." Director McBride is a very prestigious director in the entertainment industry, and the films he has directed have won numerous international awards. Whenever he officially announces a new drama, many actors try their best to get in. "Can I go see him?" Evan took my hand, forked a small piece of cake and fed it to his mouth. "Of course, Director McBride and my mother were college classmates, and you are very outstanding. He will definitely like you. I'm making it up to you, Shantelle." 5. Sitting in the car, watching the scenery passing by outside the window, what I was thinking about was what Evan had just said. "I made it up to you." Everything he does now is making it up to me. To make up for the Cold War, he gave the Golden Orchid Award for Best Actress to another nominated female artist, Nicole. So he also knew he was wrong? Punishment or compensation was just a matter of waving hands for Evan. But for me, it takes a lot of energy to get myself out of the predicament. It really makes people feel uncomfortable. He and I are clearly in a relationship. After the breakup, I was like a poor stray cat, running around various film crews hoping for an audition opportunity. But even the director who I had worked with many times and had invited me to star in his next movie rejected me. They said, "Shantelle, it's not that we don't want you. They don't dare. No matter how important the Golden Orchid Award is, it can be replaced." This shows how powerful a force I have offended. No one dares to offend Evan by using me. From a rising star in the entertainment industry to a useless person with no films to shoot. In the rapidly changing entertainment industry, a half-year window of opportunity is fatal, especially for female artists. As a businessman, Evan doesn't understand the hardships of artists. Or maybe he knew everything clearly and just wanted to punish me. After I was hospitalized for recovery, my agent Lydia couldn't bear to see me like this. She dressed me up carefully and pushed me to the dinner party. She knew about Evan. "You still don't understand this, if not for anything else, for your own sake. I silently repeated Lydia's words. As expected, I saw Evan at the dinner. He communicated with people in a casual and elegant manner. I saw that he couldn't hold on any longer and subconsciously wanted to escape. Evan caught up. He held my hand and looked at me carefully. "You've lost weight," he said to me. This sentence made me speechless. During those few seconds when Evan held me in his arms, I wondered why I was crying. "Get back together, Shantelle. I cannot leave you." I looked at his familiar face. I find it a little ridiculous. How could he not leave me? I began to doubt whether I really loved Evan. I still want his protection. Yes, nothing is pure anymore. I started to worry about Evan. Fear of being abandoned again. I am more afraid of losing everything I have now. 6. We soon arrived at the dinner place. I walked slowly behind him. Evan suddenly turned around, frowned, and shook his arm. "Kitten, aren't you going to pull it back this time and assert your sovereignty?" What he meant by this sentence was that he wanted me to hold his arm. But when I heard it, I was reminded of my own arrogance and frequent jealousy and unreasonable behavior when I was still with Evan. At that time, he was always very cold. If I wanted to hold his arm, I had to act coquettishly for a long time in advance before he would reservedly extend his arm towards me a little bit. "No, no. Director McBride is here, and there will be a lot of people inside. It won't be a good influence on you." Evan was stunned for a second. He just stood there and looked at me quietly. After a while, he turned around and strode forward. "Oh." By chance, the waiter pushed open the door of the private room. I didn't expect that as soon as I came in, I would see the person I least wanted to see. "Mr. Thompson, you are here." Nicole, wearing a white dress, came over with a smile. My Best Actress award was given to her by Evan. Turned out to be. Evan also called her when he met Director McBride this time. What is this? No matter how good my acting skills are, I can't face this situation naturally. Nicole came over enthusiastically, held my hand, her eyes full of concern. "Shantelle, long time no see. The last time we saw each other was at the awards ceremony. I heard from them that you were sick and have not been feeling well. Are you feeling better recently?" She looked at me with sparkling eyes. The warmth from the palm of my hand continued to spread to my body. Having been in the entertainment industry for a long time, I find it hard to tell whether Nicole's concern is genuine or just insincere. "Who asked you to come?" Evan, who was standing next to me, spoke coldly. He watched as Nicole took my hand and suddenly pulled me into his arms. 7. "I asked you to come. What's wrong, Evan? So serious." Director McBride walked out of the private room with a smile on his face. When I saw him, I immediately greeted him respectfully. Director McBride saw me, looked me up and down and said, "Well, I've seen you. Your name is Shantelle? You were nominated for the Jean Lawn Award. The director of the movie you starred in mentioned you to me. He said you are very spiritual. So I watched the play you starred in. Very nice. But when I saw you today, I felt that you were different from what I thought. I didn't quite understand what Director McBride meant, and I didn't dare to ask, so I just smiled at him faintly. Thank you for your appreciation. It would be my great honor to have the opportunity to audition for your next play. Ha ha, Evan, this kid is really good." Director McBride glanced at us and smiled heartily. At this time, Evan stretched out his arm. He wanted to hug me, but I turned sideways to avoid him. Director McBride and Nicole walked ahead of us into the private room. Evan and I walked behind them, one in front and one behind. He suddenly grabbed my hand and whispered, "I didn't know Nicole would be here. I didn't arrange for her to come." I pushed Evan's hand away and looked at him. After hesitating for a while, he said, "Well, she won the Best Actress award at the Jean Lawn Awards, so she must have been invited by Director McBride. I am very happy to meet Director McBride today." After saying that, I continued to move forward, but he pulled me back again. It was the first time I saw such a complicated expression on Evan's face. Surprise, confusion, and a hint of anger. "Shantelle, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you still mad at me now? You won't even listen to my explanation." 8. I looked at Evan in front of me with confusion. "I don't." I argued softly. "It's great that you gave me the opportunity to meet Director McBride." Evan shook his head, grabbed my hand and started to push. "You're still angry about the Jean Lawn Award, right? I've tried my best to make up for it. I didn't find Nicole." I know you hurt me. Evan was very strong and I couldn't get free no matter how hard I struggled under his grip. The hand he held began to feel numb and painful. When Evan and I were in a stalemate, a big hand suddenly stretched out from behind and grabbed Evan's arm to stop him from approaching me. A gentle male voice came. What are you doing? Bullying. I looked up and saw the young man behind me. The way he was dressed didn't look like a staff member here, but like a young man who just graduated from college. Immature but confident. Evan's face immediately darkened. Who are you? No matter who I am, you can't bully a woman here. She just said you hurt her, why don't you let go of your claws? Pa. I looked at Evan's long bony fingers and was stunned for a few seconds. Director McBride heard the commotion. Coming out, he pointed at the young man and yelled, Timothy, what are you doing, you little brat? 9. The atmosphere was a little awkward for a moment. Timothy hadn't let go of his hand yet, still leaning against Evan. He saw Director McBride calling him, Dad. Director McBride immediately came over and pushed Timothy's hand away. Evan, this is my son who has been studying abroad and just returned home today. He is still young and doesn't know the rules. I'm sorry to have embarrassed you. Evan glanced at Timothy and started to straighten his wrinkled clothes. It's okay, Uncle McBride, it was just a misunderstanding. I stood beside them and silently rubbed my forearm, which was pinched by Evan, with my back of my hand. Just then the waiter started serving the dishes, and after the atmosphere eased, we walked to the round table in the private room and sat down. Evan and I didn't say a word during the meal. I watched him out of the corner of my eye as he raised the glass to his lips. An invisible barrier in the air stands between us. At this point, Director McBride put down his chopsticks and started talking about the main topic. I have auditioned many new actresses for my new play, but none of them are my favorites. So I watched the winning works of the Jean Lawn Awards this time. Nicole's performance is great, and Shantelle, I like your control over your acting skills. I hope you guys come to my place for an audition tomorrow. Nicole smiled sweetly. That's great, thank you, Director McBride. I stood up and raised my glass, tapping Director McBride's glass. Thank you. At this moment, I felt a pair of eyes focused on me. I looked to the side and my eyes met Timothy's. Thinking about what happened just now, I guess he saw the relationship between Evan and me. I looked away. Unexpectedly, Evan suddenly stood up. He put an arm around my waist and raised his glass to toast Director McBride. Director McBride looked at both of us with satisfaction. That sight made me feel a little uncomfortable. 10. After the dinner, I sat in Evan's car. The cold air from the car's air conditioner blew directly at me. Evan reached out to help me turn it off, but I did it before he could. His hand stayed in the air for a few seconds before he gripped the steering wheel again. I saw the veins bulging on the back of his hands. I'll have someone take you to the audition tomorrow. No, that's too much trouble. I'll be closer to the film studio from my apartment. Evan said nothing more, but I found that the car was not heading towards my apartment. It seemed like it was heading towards Evan's private residence. I looked up at him in confusion. Stay at my place tonight, and I'll take you to the audition tomorrow. It wasn't a questioning tone, but an unquestionable one. My heart seemed to be blocked by something. Sitting in the passenger seat, I saw myself in the rearview mirror. His eyes were lifeless. It was like a fog covering my face. I do not want to go. Your private residence is far away from the film and television base, so you will have to get up very early tomorrow. I am very tired today and don't want to do anything extra. I feel that our relationship is complicated now, and I am not as happy as before being with you. But I didn't say these words until Evan drove into the parking lot of his private residence. Because of fear and confusion. 11. There haven't been many changes in Evan's private residence. Still spotless white walls and black furniture. The only difference is that there is a small lemon tree next to the floor-to-ceiling window in the living room. The lemon trees are bearing fruit. I remember Evan didn't like plants. He would not allow the yellowing and withering leaves of plants to appear before his eyes. Because of this, I once gave him a small cactus. I hope I can put it on his desk so he can look at it often. And you can always think of me. But since I gave it to him, that little cactus has never appeared again. Was it thrown away? So who is this lemon tree for now?
Master, Miss Shantelle.
Evan's nanny Mia heard our voices and came over. I've lived here a long time, so she knows me. Hello, Mia. Miss Shantelle, please wear these shoes. Mia bent down and took out a pair of pink slippers with bows from the shoe cabinet. I took it. These are the same style of shoes I wear when I live here, but they are not the same pair. It's new. After putting on my shoes, Evan took my hand and walked towards the French window. A faint fragrance spreads around us. I remember you kept saying the house was too cold and lifeless, so I had them plant a lemon tree. Evan pushed aside the green leaves and then held the tender yellow lemon in his palm. I blinked at him, confused. Evan took a deep breath at this. You had lemons in the kettle every day, so I planted it. It's for you. My eyes returned to the lemon tree. For me? But I don't like lemons. The actress only drinks it because she has to stay in shape, is on a diet regularly, and drinks lemon water when she has no taste in her mouth. And I don't dare add honey when I drink it, so it tastes sour and unpalatable. I glanced at Evan, and there was some expectation in his eyes. Thank you, but Evan suddenly picked me up by the waist, carried me on his shoulders and walked upstairs. Wait, put me down. Evan, 12. He had been carrying me on his shoulders for the whole time, and my head was feeling a little dizzy and congested. Evan gently put me on the big bed. My vision went dark and I held him for a long time. Ugh. Before I could finish my words, Evan kissed me. His kisses were always more passionate than he was. I dodged unexpectedly, but Evan grabbed my neck and pushed me back, so I responded to him. I couldn't bear it any longer, so I bit him. Evan wiped his lower lip in pain. The room was dimly lit by a floor lamp in the corner. Evan half knelt in front of me, holding my thighs with one hand, his dark eyes shining. It's been too long. I can't breathe. I looked away uncomfortably and spoke carefully. Shantelle, look at me. I could only look at him, my hands pinching my thighs involuntarily. I was wrong. I will give you everything you want and lose. Stop hiding from me. I know my problem and I'm trying to fix it. His words confused me. My long silence might have made Evan a little uneasy. He stood up and hugged me tightly. No matter what, Shantelle, you just have to look at me. You can only have me in your eyes. It was late at night and Evan had fallen asleep beside me. He had his arms around my waist and rested his head on my neck. His soft breathing reached my ears. I was a little thirsty, so I moved my arms and slowly turned on the bedside lamp. I found that on the other side of the lamp was the small cactus I gave to Evan. Although cactus is a very easy thing to grow. But Evan didn't throw it away, instead he kept it here. I already find it incredible. I know my problem and I'm trying to change it. His words suddenly rang in my ears. Is Evan really changing? There were bursts of stinging pain in his forearm. His arm was swollen from being pinched by him during an argument before dinner, and he hadn't applied medicine to it yet. I sighed silently. Even if it is really changing, I will no longer trust him as wholeheartedly as I did before. Everything Evan promised me was based on the premise that he loved me and liked me. But love is the most illusory and unreliable thing. I don't have the ability to guarantee that I will always be loved. Perhaps the most important thing to focus on right now is tomorrow's audition. At least not like last time. She had to find a way to survive after Evan abandoned her again. The next morning, Evan and I got up early, just as he promised yesterday. I sat in the car with my head against the window, patting my face to try to sober myself up. It's actually very stressful. I have seen one or two of Nicole's works and have some understanding of her. She is a very good actress and has a good reputation in the industry, dedicated and hardworking. Compared to her, my representative works include only one small hit TV series and 2 movies. One of the movies is Seeing Spring, which was shortlisted for the Golden Orchid Award. The other one was Girl Arnold, which was filmed when she debuted at the age of 18. Girl Arnold tells the story of an ordinary girl from a small county who longs to settle down in a big city, but is hit by reality and finally returns to the small county to live out her life. I am not a professional. After the college entrance examination that year, my grades were good enough to get into an ordinary undergraduate program. But my family is a single-parent family, and it is not easy for my mother to live with my younger sister. We cannot afford to pay for me to go to college. After discussion, I also wanted to become independent and earn money as soon as possible to supplement my family income, so I gave up the opportunity to go to university and chose to work in a factory. Before entering the factory, I went to a photo studio to take my first ID photo. Later, the store owner said he wanted to put my photo outside as a model and was willing to give me 500 yuan. I agreed to his request without hesitation. It just so happened that at that time the director of the production team of Girl Arnold wanted to choose a female lead. So they came to our small county town to collect materials and select actors. She passed by the photo studio and saw my photo. When I received the director's call for an audition, I was working in an electronics factory, checking components from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. as soon as I opened my eyes. I couldn't believe I was chosen. After the director repeatedly assured me that my travel expenses would be reimbursed, I drove for more than 2 hours and came to the production team for an audition. On the day of the audition, there were many pretty girls wearing beautiful dresses. I was wearing the only white shirt I had, which I borrowed from another girl in the factory last night. It was much longer and looked like a short skirt. I wanted to escape several times, but I promised the director to come for an audition, so I had to do it. Shantelle, arrive. I knocked on the door twice and entered the audition room, but what I didn't expect was, everyone in the room seemed interested in me. Before I could finish introducing myself, the director stood up from his chair. She held my face and looked closely into my eyes. Has anyone ever told you that you look like a stray cat looking for itself? Since the gears of fate began to turn, the director's words came true. Everything seemed like a prophecy. I seemed to be the girl Arnold, always longing to touch the sky that does not belong to me. It is also the wandering cat. 14. The filming period of Girl Arnold lasted for a year. It received a warm response in the industry once it was broadcast. Unstoppable. Arnold made Shantelle, who had always felt inferior, realize that she could be liked by so many people. If you like something, you have to take responsibility. I didn't take advantage of the popularity to waste myself by taking on bad dramas. Signed with an agency that values talent. Working with my agent Lydia to select the best scripts within my capabilities. I give my best every time I do fan business. I often think about the script and character late into the night until the early morning. Not being a professional means I have to catch up with everyone and make more efforts. Although very tired. But who isn't tired? I am happy when I see satisfied comments from fans. I am happy when I see my mother and sister living a good life. All this changed completely after I met Evan. The first time I met him was at a sponsor's banquet. One boss insisted that I drink wine with him, and the other sponsors surrounded me and made fun of me, not letting me leave. The agent Lydia tried to persuade him many times, but was finally kicked out by the boss. When I was helpless, Evan ordered someone to kick open the door of the private room. He took me away from this place. It's really cliché, but that's the reality. When I was most scared and needed help and protection the most, Evan came. At that time, he seemed mature and graceful, and promised to give me love and resources. He was a guiding star for me when I was early in life. But after all, he and I grew up in different environments. I wanted to be worthy of Evan so much that I tried hard to change myself and stick to him desperately to express my love. All of this makes me, a stray cat, seem like I've moved into a castle. But when there is a disagreement with Evan, then I realize that I should wake up and stop dreaming. 15. Evan dropped me off at the film and television base, and I only left after seeing director McBride's people come to pick me up. Call me after the audition. Good. The audition went well. Well, be careful on your way. When I entered the conference room at the base, I found that not only director McBride was there, but also his son Timothy. Shantelle is here? Wait a moment, Nicole is still on her way. So you can read the script first. Timothy came over and handed me the script for the audition. I flipped through a few pages and was stunned. I asked uncertainly, "Is this a double heroine suspense drama?" Timothy nodded and added, "A suspenseful revenge story with 2 female protagonists." I seemed to realize something. Does this movie want me and Nicole to play the female lead together? The further I read the script, the more exciting it becomes. If this movie could really be released, it would definitely be a huge hit at the box office. Sorry, there was some traffic jam, I'm late. Nicole pushed the door open and saw us and greeted us with a smile. Timothy also handed her a script, but she seemed to have known the contents of the script for a long time. Everyone's eyes fell on me. I swallowed nervously, reflexively. "What's wrong?" Director McBride shook his head and said, "It's okay. You guys watch this first and then you two can try it together." I began to flip through it quickly and recited the content of one of the above paragraphs. 16. The name of this movie is Throwing Bricks to Inspire Jade. It tells the story of a bad girl, Xiaoyi, who lied that she was sexually assaulted by her class teacher. A Shui who had always liked her killed the class teacher to avenge Xiaoyi. Aksu has always been a quiet and good student in the class, and with Xiaoyi's alibi, no one suspected her at all. The two kept it secret for 10 years. Once the crime is committed, the validity period has expired, and it can no longer be pursued. But in the past 10 years, Xiaoyi suffered from guilt and nightmares and developed mental illness. Aksu was also diagnosed with cancer at this time. Aksu was afraid that she didn't have time to express her love to Xiaoyi, so she confessed her feelings to her. But Xiaoyi told her that she was not sexually assaulted by her class teacher at all, and she killed an innocent person. Aksu felt that all the pressure she had endured over the years was because of Xiaoyi, so she killed her in a fit of rage. He took Xiaoyi's ashes back home, also planning to end his own life there. At this time, Xiaoyi's mother told Aksu. In fact, Xiaoyi inherited her father's mental illness since she was young, but the disease is unstable and her father died early. That bastard class teacher found out about this and used it to force her. When Xiaoyi came home that day, her clothes were messy and her pants were covered in blood. "Thank you, Shui, for always being with her." Xiaoyi's mother's words were like a bucket of cold water poured over Aksu's head. It turns out that the only person she killed by mistake was her lover. At the end of the story, Aksu committed suicide next to Xiaoyi's grave. 17. The role I was assigned was Xiaoyi, and Nicole was assigned a Shui. The part of this audition is the plot where Xiaoyi confesses to Aksu 10 years later. Nicole and I got in the mood and started. In the script, Xiaoyi was in a very bad mental state at this time. It's actually a bit like when Evan and I first broke up. I was pretty good at acting. I was sitting on the ground, and when I saw Nicole coming over, my tears stayed in my eyes for half a minute, and then slowly flowed down. "I was wrong, Shui, I shouldn't have lied to you. He didn't force me, not at all. Ha ha ha. I just thought it was funny, so I said that. Fun." Nicole grabbed my collar suddenly. She looked at me with cold eyes. My lips trembled and I couldn't utter a word. But she suddenly slowly loosened my collar and her eyes seemed gentle. My heart tightened. If this were according to the script, she would be very emotional and would slap me. Doesn't Nicole want to follow the script? She leaned towards me, with her face only a finger's length away from me. "You were forced." Nicole held my face and said word by word. What? It's a done deal. Even if you didn't do it, it still happened. You have to stick to this matter. Otherwise, you will be the murderer who killed the homeroom teacher and me. My heart was pounding. What should I do next? Yes, I am a madman now. Anything a madman does is reasonable. I was panicking and kept combing my hair on one side. Then suddenly I threw her down. I kept repeating in a low voice. "Aksu is right. I'm being. Help me. Please help me." Nicole was stunned for 5 seconds. She didn't say any extra lines. She just hugged me, stroked my head, and finally kissed my hair. 18. The scene ends here. Director McBride was very pleased with Nicole and I's performance. Actually, Nicole read the script earlier than you did, so we asked her to add some improvisations based on her understanding of the script. It seems like you two are working together very well. So that's how it is. I looked at Nicole and she handed me a tissue and asked me to wipe the tears from my face. Director McBride patted Timothy on the back and told us, "Timothy actually wrote this play, so I wanted him to be the director of this movie. If it's possible, I'll sign you guys for this play." Of course, I am very happy, because the plot is very attractive to me, and it is a role that I have always wanted to challenge. And the person I'm working with is Nicole. She is a student graduated from a serious film and television academy. I can learn a lot from her. No problem for me. Thank you, director. Thank you, Nicole. When leaving the film and television base, Nicole stopped me. She and I walked side by side on the road. In fact, I always feel that I am very lucky. I am lucky to have won the Golden Orchid Award this time. Every time I see you, Shantelle, I feel guilty. This actually has nothing to do with Nicole, it was Evan who did it behind the scenes. I can't blame her. This is not your problem. Your ability is worthy of this award. Nicole shook her head slowly. Shantelle, I've actually known you for a long time. When I was a freshman, the director of Arnold came to our school for casting. I was the one who was pushed forward to audition. They all said that the director would definitely choose me, but in the end, I was not selected. So I went to watch Girl Arnold as soon as it aired. I've never seen such natural acting before. You're really talented. I was so envious of you. Nicole's words surprised me a little. I never thought that one day I would be envied. You have to know that if Nicole and I hadn't been discovered by the director, we would never have met. She was 18 years old when she was studying what she loved at film school. I was also 18 years old when I worked hard in an electronics factory to make a living. So I told her about the inferiority and confusion in my heart. Nicole just laughed softly. But what you worry about are things that haven't happened. The fact is that you are acting very well now and many people like you. You need to look forward. 19. After saying goodbye to Nicole, Evan came to pick me up. At the beginning, the atmosphere between us was quite harmonious. Until he asked, "What is this play? Is it going well?" "It's going well. I've agreed to sign it." "What drama?" I looked straight ahead calmly. "Suspense, playing a crazy woman." "What?" Evan's car speed suddenly dropped. The expression on his face gradually stiffened. But I was surprised that he didn't say much about it. When we got back to his private residence, I felt a little tired, so I took a shower. Coming out of the bathroom, I saw Evan frowning and holding my phone. "What are you doing? Why did he add you?" we both asked at the same time. I was a little confused as to who added me and wanted to take my phone away. But Evan threw the phone onto the bed. "What are you doing? Why did Timothy add you?" "The director of this movie is now Timothy. So what's the problem with him adding me?" "That's the biggest problem." Evan's eyes were red. "I've been wondering why you're different after you came back. Is it because you don't like me anymore? Timothy flirted with you." I feel a little speechless and funny.
No.
"What am I in your eyes?" Evan shook his head and held my shoulders. "This play has been postponed."
Impossible.
I met his eyes and spoke word by word. Why on earth would I pass up such a great opportunity? This is a role and a career I love. I'm not asking you to give up your career. It's just this movie. I'll arrange other roles for you. I can create as many leading roles as you want. I slapped his hand off my shoulder. "Today you made me give up a chance to make a movie. What about tomorrow? What will you make me give up tomorrow for you?" "My life." 20. Evan trembled slightly. He looked at me and said, "Are you sure you want to argue with me about this?" I smiled bitterly. "So you're going to hurt me again the same way you hurt me last time? You're soft-banning me. Are you going to give me a taste of my own medicine?" Evan was stunned for a moment. I didn't. I closed my eyes and took a long breath. "I don't like you anymore, Evan. I feel so bad after getting back together with you. Even worse than when we broke up. You don't love me, you have a possessiveness for me. A possessiveness that makes me breathless." After saying that, I pushed him away and tried to walk out. But Evan pulled me back and said, "It's you who has changed. You are not like this. You love me very much. But did you love me at that time? Did you respect me? Tell me what I was fighting with you on." My voice trailed off. "I've tried so hard to be worthy of you. Never mind, that's all. For the sake of my past love for you, please don't hurt me again, Evan." I never imagined I would be able to walk out of Evan's house so easily. It's time to end it. This abnormal love. 21. After this, Evan never came to see me again. I started to join the crew to film. The busy filming life made me focus on myself and forget about Evan. It was not until half a year later that the filming of Throwing Bricks to Inspire Jade was completed. At the wrap party, the atmosphere among the entire crew was particularly good during the filming process. I drank quite a bit of wine. After the party, I was a little drunk, and when I walked out of the hotel, I received a familiar text message. "Can I pick you up? It's Evan." I picked up the phone with difficulty and typed, "No." After a while, the phone rang. After I hung up twice, Evan called again. I accepted it helplessly. His voice was a little hoarse. Is it at the Sands Hotel? Heh, don't you already know everything? Why are you still asking? I don't know how Evan knew that I was having a wrap party today. The person on the other side was silent for a while. I just want to see you. No need, you can see me by turning on the big screen. It's over, Evan. You should understand what I mean. Nicole, who was not far away, suddenly came over. Baby, you're drunk. Let me give you a ride. It's on my way. Good. During our time on the set, my relationship with Nicole progressed by leaps and bounds. She was the first good friend I made in the circle. I glanced at the lit screen of my phone. Tell the people inside. I will get back safely. After saying that, he hung up. Sitting in Nicole's nanny car, the music we all liked was playing in the car. I opened the window. On a summer evening, the cool breeze on my face made me feel a little more awake. Nicole patted my hands and asked, "What are you thinking about? I wonder how this movie will be received." Haha, baby, I have something to say. Please recite it silently every day from now on.
Ich glänzte her curiously.
What? Everything that happens is good for me. If the reviews are bad, we will learn from them and make corrections next time. If the reviews are good, we will keep working hard. It's good either way. Yes, we are still young and will have many works to come. The road ahead is long. 22. A year later, at the audition of Throwing Bricks to Inspire Jade. During the movie screening, I heard the audience exclaim and sigh. I feel much more at ease. The film was eventually shortlisted for the Huatian Awards. Nicole and I won the Huatian Award for Best Actress together. She is also the only actress to win 2 Best Actress awards in the history of this award. I didn't cry as much as I imagined when I gave the speech. I never thought I would be standing here, thanks to the director, Nicole, and the entire production team. Without you, I wouldn't be who I am today. After the Huatian Awards ceremony, I saw Evan backstage. He looked a little tired. When he saw me coming, he paused, turned his head and pretended not to see me. But I stopped him. Evan, let's compromise yourself or change yourself just to get closer. Sunk costs do not factor into major decisions. And every decision in life is in my own hands. I am just me, not a poor stray cat. It's not anyone's work. Henceforth, I am just me. Extra. Evan's story. 1. For the first 25 years of my life, I have had many names, but there is only one thing that accompanies my life, like an inescapable shame. Illegitimate child. My mother is the third party, but she didn't care about being talked about. Evan, what are you afraid of? You have everything now, what are you afraid of? When I was a child and entered the Chen family, I heard the servants talk about how my mother stepped on the original wife to take the position. I can't judge her behavior, because no matter what, I am the beneficiary in everyone's eyes. I can't tell you how much my mother loves me, or how much I love her. All I can say is that we only have each other. So I live a hard and diligent life. Be the best son your father can be, even an illegitimate child. But it's all just to survive. After several decades, I finally made it through, and my father was about to hand over the group to me. My mother fell ill. Advanced lung cancer. 2. She said I was the only one who knew about this. Don't tell Dad, because this will affect my future career. But the poor woman didn't know that. My father knew all this but did nothing. With the strength of the Chun family, it is entirely possible to find a very authoritative expert to treat my mother. At least it can ease her pain. But my father didn't. He doesn't love her. Everyone is selfish. Before her death, my mother's thin and withered body lay on the bed, with black water flowing from her mouth. She was no longer able to speak, still stubbornly asked me to get a pen and paper, write over and over again. I want to see him. I want to see him. Unfortunately, her last wish was not fulfilled. I saw a life slip away with my own eyes. Can't be caught. With the passing of my mother, I inherited my father's business and replaced the people around him with my own confidants. The rumors gradually died down, but I am more and more like a lonely boat, surviving in this world. Too tired. I need to grab something. Stay a moment. Until I met Shantelle. 3. It was at a movie launch. As the president of Thompson Group, he is also an investor in many projects in the entertainment industry. I was invited to attend this conference, but the process was boring, so after staying for a while, I went outside to get some fresh air and smoke a cigarette. The press conference had already started, so it was very quiet outside. I stared at the cigarette, but in a daze. Suddenly, a hurried sound was heard. A woman in a light pink skirt ran towards this side with a canvas bag in her hand. She paused for a few seconds when she saw me and blinked her big watery eyes a few times. Then he wanted to push the door open and go in. But the door here needs to be pulled. The woman pushed twice but failed to push it open and stayed there for about 5 seconds. I said silently, "Open the door." She looked at me dully, blushed and said, embarrassedly. Then he suddenly thought of something and handed me the canvas bag with both hands. "Hello, excuse me, could you please hold this for me?" My agent suddenly disappeared and I couldn't get in touch with her. After saying that, he took out a bag of gold coin chocolates from his canvas bag. Very simple and generous. You can eat as much as you want. They are all freshly bought. I had only eaten this kind of chocolate when I was very young, before I moved to the Chun family. I don't know if it's because the woman is so innocent and sincere, or if she is so pretty. I took her canvas bag. Later I found out her name was Shantelle. He is a new actor with no background. After I went back, I always thought of her. Start meeting her through various resources. Over time, Shantelle and I became familiar with each other. She would always greet me with a blushing face and a soft voice. "Hello, Mr. Thompson." I can see right through Shantelle. She is essentially very similar to me. Afraid of this world, but have to live by my own efforts. I think she is someone I can totally grasp. After we got together, I enjoyed having Shantelle under my control. A person's heart and eyes are filled with you. That feeling is not like those women who deliberately come up to you for money. I can be sure that Shantelle loves me. She must always be like this. Can't get out of control. Otherwise, I would lose control. When Shantelle suggested taking a role that didn't suit her, I objected almost immediately. This was the only time she rebelled against me. I don't understand what she is arguing with me on. After we broke up, I watched her live a negative life with no movies to shoot and even being hospitalized. This punishment was enough for a poor kitten. So I hinted to her agent, "Arrange this dinner. The final harvest must be what I wish." She is still my favorite kitten. But something went wrong. 5. Shantelle has changed. She became more cautious and just tried to please me. There is no love in his eyes. Obviously, this would allow me to control her better. But I'm not happy. It's like a kitten that you have been raising well at home, but when it comes back from a few days away, it starts to refuse to eat or drink, curls up in the corner, and looks at you timidly. As soon as you stretch out your hand, it will come to you. But just keep watching. Is he waiting to see when to throw her out? Not anymore. A punishment that Shantelle would remember. The gap between us is growing. Even when I took the initiative to talk about it, Shantelle would avoid the subject. Until different people started to appear around her. I became panicked. Want to control Shantelle in the same way. But she yelled at me angrily. "But did you love me at that time? Did you respect me? Tell me what I was fighting with you on." Looking at Chantelle's tears, I was at a loss. Can't we go back to the way things were? You are still as nice to me and love me as before. I can give you resources and money. No. In the eyes of businessmen, anything can be exchanged for money. But love cannot. I have experienced short-lived love, but I didn't cherish it. I once read this sentence in a book, and now I fully understand it. When you try to control others, they have already controlled you. So I lost at the beginning. It was a ridiculous loss. A complete defeat.